Hello guys, good evening. This is Delisa, and tonight we're going to do a voice teacher chat on healthy belting. So share this video with 10 friends, tag somebody, let them see what's going on. I'm going to be having a discussion with not only myself, but the two voice teachers that teach under my brand, Delisa's Vocal Academy, Alethea Evans and O'Neill Gerald. They are both amazing vocal instructors. They're so intelligent and really knowledgeable about the voice and intuitive about the voice. And so we are going to discuss tonight some of the pitfalls and some of the things that we have dealt with ourselves with overcoming how to belt, if any. And then we're also going to share some of our insight and finding with you guys that could hopefully help you guys with your vocal technique. So, hi, Jamie. So what I need, I saw that Alethea came online. I think I would need for her, let me add her there. And then I guess we'll O'Neill. Yes, share this screen recording to Jack. Hi.
Hey.
How are you, Alethea?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm tired. It's been a
understatement of the century.
Okay.
We some working women.
Listen, it is not a game out here. It is not a game. But yeah, I am so sorry. I was just sharing it. I was sharing this video in people's inboxes. You guys just make sure you share with people, because I know this is the kind of information that the information we'll be sharing tonight is the kind of information that we get a lot of questions about and a lot of our students deal with. So, hi, boy with a glass heart, but you didn't miss it.
Hey, Adrian. Uh-oh. Hey, Irvine.
The pitch just kept getting higher. I had to. How are you doing, man of God? Hi, Irvine. You are not late. We literally just started. So the fun thing that here's a fun fact that got brought back to my memory a couple months ago, was Alethea was my very first voice teacher. I had no idea. But it's amazing the things you remember. Did you even remember that?
Not until Carlene brought it up.
So it didn't even log in your memory. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yes, Alethea was the first person that taught me how to belt. And belting, I've had a love-hate relationship with belt because I don't think I have a very high belt register. And so it's always, hey, Colette, my sister's on the line. So it's always been a bit of a challenge for me to belt. Like growing up, I was like a high head voice singer. And so I couldn't really access it. But I remember through whatever exercises I did with you, I was able to access it. I still feel like I needed to do more work over the years in order to kind of access it from a place that was even freer and even lighter and all of that stuff. And so just as I've gone along in singing, I think it's one of those things that you literally have to do often enough to get really comfortable with and just kind of find your sweet spot with it. You know what I'm saying? In order to do the things you want to do. Like, because even now there are certain notes. Like I listen to people like Tamia, for example. There are certain people that can like literally speak words on an E5 or an F5, whereas all I can do is
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like what you're saying. It takes time because, like, we know it's a muscle, so it's almost like you're building the tolerance for it. Because even though you can do it in a healthier way, you still have to build the tolerance or the stamina to carry a belt. It's not going to be like you're belting great today and then tomorrow you'd be like, wait a minute, I couldn't do it the same way I did. It's like, yeah, well, sing a couple times, get out there doing it more often, and your throat will kind of remember what it feels like. Your body will adjust to what you need to do in order to get the breath support and everything. So it's not I got it today and, I'm perfect moving forward. Hi, Anil.
Hi, everybody. Sorry,
Hi,
man.
O'Neill. So O'Neill is our resident encyclopedia. Can you define? Can you define for us what exactly is the belting technique? Let's start there.
Okay, so there's different ways you can describe it, but for me, the simplest one is just simply carrying the chest register past the passaggio. So taking it beyond where you would normally take it, beyond your speaking range, and then I would call that kind of like a bottom up approach to belting, but then especially for singers that are more head voice dominant, it's more introducing that chest resonance at a higher place or above the passaggio, above the place where the chest voice really is, introducing that sound, introducing that coordination to mix and broaden the head voice so that it kind of has a little bit more thunder.
Ooh, thunder.
I hope that's something.
That definitely was. Alethea, do you want to add to that?
I think that was great. Just being able, we're defining it, right? So belting is being able to sustain a note above your passaggio, especially the first one, let alone the second one. And and once you're up there, controlling the sound. Because sometimes people confuse belting with yelling.
Yes.
Or belting with
Yes.
screaming.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different technique, completely different approach. And so it's not just getting above it, but it's being able to sustain it in a healthy way that you're controlling the sound that you're releasing.
Absolutely. I I was a victim of the shouting technique in my early gospel choir days. I remember because I'm not necessarily a first tenor, so a lot of these Hezekiah Walker songs, a lot of this stuff, it just starts at the top of my range, of my belting range. I'm just
like, yeah, we get to warm up.
Yeah. And it gets all muscular, and it's forcing things out, and I'm basically shouting across the street in order to get notes out, and that isn't belting. It wasn't controlled. My stamina probably lasted for half to a quarter of the song, and it wasn't pretty. It was flat most of the time as well, which can also happen when you shout.
Yeah.
Bad.
I'm sure that was torture for a person with perfect pitch.
And then you're hoarse the next day and you wonder why.
Every time.
Hoarse for 2
Every
weeks.
time. You got to take a vocal like, okay, I have nothing. I got to wait till next week to have something else because I gave it my all. No, you were screaming the whole time. That's what happened. One thing that my voice teacher, Miss Beasley at Oakwood, told me, because I was very, very into, I had dual eyes. I was fully gospel and fully classical. And so it was like, she's like, okay, I'm not going to win this argument, because she was like, I need you to quit the choir. I said, I direct the choir. Well, I need you to quit. I can't, And she's like, okay, I'm not going to win this argument, but you understand that singing, she actually said she started to study some more because she wanted to help me get better.
That's awesome.
And she said to me, she said, what she realized is what we are doing is capable once we learn the proper technique and apply it to that. It can be applied the same way. You just got to know how to control it. And once she started to explain that to me, I was like, wow. Because then I wasn't hoarse by the time we had our little class recitals and whatever, after we just, sung all Saturday and did all screaming and all of that stuff. Because she was like, you need to utilize the tools I give you here, there.
Yeah.
Don't separate the two. Don't think genre when you're thinking about health. Don't think genre when you're thinking about quality and tone. Think health for all of it. And so I started to do that. I started to apply those things. And it was hard in the beginning because when you're in performance mode, you have a knee-jerk reaction to go with what you're comfortable doing.
Yeah.
And so it took a while, but I got it. After a while, I was like, okay, I understand now. And then I realized sometimes I would choose not to because I know my voice wasn't ready for that. And so there were certain things I'd be like, okay, we're not belting today because this voice ain't ready for the belt today, and I'm going to be done all week. So I wouldn't belt that day, or I would just try to practice and practice and practice and build that muscle. And so I know that maybe I'll belt in an alto range rather than belting in a soprano range for now, and then build and then build and then, oh, I can hit a soprano note and belt it, but I'm only going to do it once in this song.
Okay.
I'm going to choose where it goes and when it happens for effect. Because belting is for effect, in my opinion. Humble opinion. It's not gospel. It's just opinion. But belting is for an effect. And so I want you to feel what I'm singing at a particular point of a song. So if that's the case, I can choose where it goes and I can choose the note to do it on. So all of those things come to mind now that I'm incorporating skill, tact, everything in my performance or ministry.
Okay, so let me add my teeny tiny 2 cents. Humbly.
Whatever. Bring it, sis.
Humbly. So once I kind of learned like the actual mechanism of what's happening, it kind of freed me, right? So when I realized that it could be described as just TA dominant singing, that to me, that's what made chest voice click. Like, okay, I am compressing my thyroarytenoid chords the way that I would compress it while I'm speaking. Yeah. And then if I put my hand on my throat, I want that compression to stay the same no matter what pitch I go to. Because if you're like, the compression changes, but the compression stays exactly the same.
That's right.
And even on that note, Delisa, there's a lot of people like myself who think that they need more, and so
more tension.
They add more as
they add more tension and stress the voice. Absolutely.
So that's the other thing I noticed sensationally, that it's like there's a down and outward pressure in the throat that has to happen in order for the belt to feel really healthy. If we're feeling up and in, then we're just using our, we're overcompensating for the sound we want with the muscles in our throat.
Like, I know for myself, whenever I go into belting, I have to watch my larynx because I'm always pulling up. Especially even I kind of speak high larynx too. Like, that's just kind of just like what I do. And so when I go to singing, it's like I'm choking. But then I was like, oh, no, gotta lower, neutralize. And then I'm like, oh, and then I realized, oh wait, I'm not a first tenor. Okay, let's go with it.
So that's a thing. That's a thing that we can talk about, like how your speech technique, or if I could say speech pathology, like kind of interacts with our singing technique.
Love that.
Because okay, I hear a lot of speech level singing teachers say, well, just sing the way you speak. But if you're hypofunctional,
right,
then we're not going to really accomplish the goal. So then we kind of have to address how we speak, right? And get more TA activity when we speak, so that we can then match that to how we want to sing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring out that point. It's
no,
really
that's an awesome point that I never pay attention to because I don't do myself. I'm always like that, like right now, like this is supposed to be my speaking voice.
Oh,
and
this is supposed to be mine.
This is like, it's right here. I feel no tension. I feel nothing. It's nice and freeing, but I don't speak that way. And so, yeah, it's something when you say hyperfunctional, it's like, it's just, okay, lesson. I need to start doing that as well, because then it also can translate naturally when you're singing if you're teaching somebody that in their speaking.
Absolutely. Can I tell you guys a story?
Come on, tell us the
It's
story.
a sob story, but here it is. So I got called for this amazing opportunity. And so up until that point, like I had noticed that right around 8 o'clock, my voice would go into full vocal fry every single day. Just from speaking. Like by 8 p.m., I was talking like there was no voice. Every single day. I got a call for this amazing opportunity. The session was at 9 o'clock at night. And so you should have seen me. I was like trying to do jumping jacks. I was like, don't fall asleep, body. Don't fall asleep. Because I knew my body I knew what was about to happen. And we got to the thing at 9. And then we didn't actually sing until 11. My voice was literally, So highly embarrassed.
How old were you?
Even though I was able to get through that opportunity, it was supposed to be a recording for like an entire project. And it was just like, hey, we're going to need altos that can kind of sing in the 5th register kind of easily. We noticed that you struggled. So for the rest of the project, we're probably going to need really a soprano that just kind of sings alto versus getting other altos. So I missed out on that opportunity. And it wasn't because of my singing technique. It was because of my speaking technique. So what happened was I spent the next 2 weeks, because up until that point, whenever I was warming up, it would always take me no less than 45 minutes to warm up. And I would always have to start in the 3rd octave to warm up. So once I changed my speech patterns, or I just changed my speech pathology, and I started talking more like this, within 2 weeks, my warm up was 15 minutes, and my belt up to the 5th octave was easy. Like I was literally floating up there.
So what would you say did you change in your speaking technique? Was it about support? Was it about
the pitch?
Where?
I changed the pitch. So I married it to my singing technique because I don't have any problems there, right? So it's like, if I sing like this, then I probably just need to kind of talk like this because this actually feels really good.
Yeah.
So if I talk like this, my voice would never get tired.
Never. And it's so funny. I don't know who I was telling this story to before, but when I was young, my voice was super high. I was listening to something when I was 19, and I was like, guys, the line is so good. And I'm like listening to myself now, like, what? When did that happen? But honestly, it makes so much sense. And now for the rest of the time, I'm going to have to speak off my voice.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, it just feels wrong. I'm going to try, though.
So that's how elderly British women talk. Listen, man, and that's how opera singers talk. Like if you listen to an opera singer do a workshop, and when I was at Carnegie Hall, if you watch Jesse Norman, and they talk like this.
I'm the actual opposite of you guys because for me, and even now, I still kind of talk like really, really on the not on the edge of my range, but kind of in the lower part of my range. But I did have to realize that brightening my tone and talking a little bit higher is actually the way that I can actually, even engage my breath support and actually get myself ready to sing before I'm ready to sing. And I think that even for guys, the masculine thing is always to have a robust and thunderous tone and use all of it. But for guys that sing, embracing a lighter speaking voice that starts to get you ready to mix is actually what will help you to be able to keep your voice for longer.
Exactly.
Whose voice surprised me when I heard it? Ella Fitzgerald.
Her voice is gorgeous.
Her speaking voice.
Oh, okay.
She talks like this. She talks like this. Oh. Like I was watching and she was doing something and she was talking like this. Now Ella is a rich tone whenever I hear it. And except for her early work, she was more of a higher, but when she, like in her prime, it wasn't high. But when she started she'd be like, thank you, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And that's just amazing. But I'm like, and she has super agility and she has
but that's why, and that's why
Yes.
it's funny to me when people hear, you know, there's so many singers that their voice by the time they're 40 sounds like they're 90. People go, oh, it's because of their age, and it's like,
no,
because it's technique, it's lifestyle, it's the way they speak, it's the way that they sing, all of those things. I wanted to go back to the whole chest thing and talk about how I will say, as a means to an end, I like, one of the things I tell people is just like, sing as if, abandon all thoughts of what is pretty and give me just singing across the street trying to get somebody's attention.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
So if I tell them they're no longer singing, they're just throwing out sound. And even if I say the word, you're just shouting to somebody across the street. And okay, now great, we got the shouting across the street. Now let's extend the shout. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the support comes in and the coordination, so that it's not an actual force shout from here. But one thing I learned from my voice teacher is, she said, passion doesn't come from here. Passion comes from the diaphragm.
There you go. There you go.
So if we can kind of switch around what we think when we think passion, I think that will kind of really help our muscle memory.
Absolutely.
You know, our bodies respond to the type of sound we want.
And what that technique that you just mentioned, or that exercise that you just mentioned, is really good for people who just don't believe they can do it.
Absolutely.
Because when you have people like, I can't get it out. Da, 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 da. No, because you're trying to sing. You know, but if you were screaming at so and so and so, you could.
Yeah.
And so that kind of just shocks them and see, oh, I have the ability, and now let's get it to a healthy place.
People have already decided what their singing voice sounds like.
Honestly, it's the most annoying thing sometimes. Honestly, I've heard people, and even people that we know and love, that they're speaking. When I hear them speak, like, the voice teacher in me is just like, their voice will sound like this. It's supposed to sound like this, etc., and so forth. And then they go to sing, and they are trying to create a sound that has
nothing to do with them.
Nothing to do with them. It doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound pretty. It doesn't even sound cute. Like, it's really, 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 really.
The word is inauthentic. Inauthentic.
Inauthentic to them as a singer, and most importantly to their body. Like, they're disobeying or rebelling against their body's natural disposition and with their voice's natural disposition to try and have a bigger sound, or and in some cases to try and have a smaller sound. I find that people are generally trying to be bigger, but it's that type of mentality that tires people out before their time, you know?
So someone said Janet can belt technically, but she doesn't. I think she does. When I think of that song again, stand there and then tell me you love me to live again. To me, I've heard her do it live, and I was like, okay, she's belted. She just has a small voice.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, and scream too. I think she and Michael did some stuff there. And then they come and they do something else, and you know it's there. So the answer is can she do it? I think so.
But I think she does it. But I think she does it. It's just her voice is so small that there's not much of a difference when she's switching registers like that.
Yeah,
if you want to call it
and someone else that's also like that is for me, Sierra. When I hear Sierra sing, and she goes up a little bit higher, I'm like, oh, your voice is actually small. Like,
she does.
Like,
like
she does a lot of like light falsetto stuff and all that type of stuff. But when I hear her using her voice in the belting range, I'm like, oh, whoa, your voice is actually just small.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. That you have to accept what your voice can do and cannot do, because belting will sound like one thing for one person and another thing for another. You have a small voice, you're not going to have this big, gigantic sound when you're belting, but you still can actually belt. So you just have to be okay with that and know your strengths, and accept it and be excited about that and maximize what you have.
And also, like, know your body, feel your belt. I think a lot of people are trying to create a sound that they become disengaged with what their body is actually trying to tell them when they're uncomfortable, when they're straining, and they're like, no, but it sounds like that, like Beyonce. But you're not Beyonce. You're you know? So yeah, just listen to your body.
That's really good. I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into, especially like, let's say they're in a live band setting or something like that, and they may not be able to hear themselves or whatever. Sometimes people get carried away and they're not, you know, I'm sure your voice teachers, you've heard your voice teacher say, like, stay in your body. You got to stay planted in your body and not start screaming and kind of pushing because you're trying to get this energy out or this sound out. And so that's why it's important to really practice vocal technique, not so that you can hear the right sound, but also feel the right sound. Because you got to know what I went over that with a student. She's so funny. She has the funniest description. She's like, oh, so like Jennifer Hudson. Okay, so when I feel like it's like Jennifer Hudson, then it's right. Like, she just has the most off the wall descriptions for how things make her feel. And then she memorizes that and comes back to that time, you know, kind of nailing it. So
and then what I do, and then what I do when someone does that, I just mirror them. Because to them, it's making sense up here and it's clicking for them. Even though for me, I'm like, Jennifer Hudson. What do you mean, Jennifer Hudson? But to them, that's how it feels in their body.
She's
and
like,
if
oh,
they've
so
already
extra.
found that.
Oh, I need to do more. It's like, yes, what you consider extra is finally enough. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
That's okay for now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about, what are your favorite exercises for teaching somebody how to belt?
Ooh. Wow. That's a good question. Oh, like kind of like you said, Delisa. I'll do this a person across the street over there, or I'll use a little brother or a little like a sibling is like annoying them, and then I'll say, how would you speak to your sibling? It would be like, hey, stop that, you know, just kind of getting them to create more sound, and then I kind of figure out from there where is their voice kind of sitting, and then I'll kind of match their pitch and be like, hey, 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 and then just start kind of getting them to start to slow it down. So if you kind of start with shouting at someone across the street, hey, then kind of start like freezing on that note and then gently bringing it down into your speaking, into more of your speaking range. Hey, you start to kind of feel that sensation. So that's me.
Beautiful. What about you?
Yeah, mine is all of those stuff is good, and I touch on different students with different things because every student is different. But one of the main things that I try to get people to do is connect the ab work with the diaphragm work, because a lot of times they don't have the proper support with it. So if I'm getting them to like project, oh, right, and I'll have them do that, and whatever their range. So I'll find out where that passaggio is, the break is, and then I'll find that note and I'll go right above it. And so then I'll have them go to that note, and then I'll have them put ab work to it, and get them go further and further, and then start doing a little melodic line to that note with the same muscle movement. Getting the same.
Preach. I felt that in my shana now. I was going to ask something else, but I got lost in what you were saying. It's gone. No. Okay, so let's talk about people who are hyper functional, who they're forcing it and it sounds, it's a pinched belt sound. So how do we get them to make the sound warm and balanced?
I'll kind of go with what Alethea.
Kind
of what Alethea was talking about before. With those type of people, I actually go with support, and I'll say, let's create the smallest sound that you can that is supported. So I'll tell them to speak on the edge of their voice. Hi, how's it going? Can you talk to me like this? And then I'll get them to bring in the effort. Just totally like nullify, disable everything that's muscular, that's going wild. And just get them to a very small tone like this. Hello, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. But they're still supporting the sound. And then from there, I would use like an ooh and just kind of take them beyond the pistachio. Ooh, and just making sure that that sound is connected to all parts of their voice, and then gently creating more and more sound. And then I'll tell them where they need to stop so that they can see how much effort it actually takes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Did you answer already, Alethea?
No, I didn't. I was actually listening. So, I like the fact with our dialogue, I always pick up little something like, okay, and see, and try to think like,
O'Neill always has good ideas.
how would that work? Okay, let me see. I usually go from head voice, because what I would try to do with those type of people, I try to, since they've already screamed it out, they know they have the capability, right? I try to train those people to do a blended voice.
Right.
A blended
Absolutely.
voice kind of takes off that strain. So I'll start with the head voice and slowly teach them how to mix the chest with the head and have a blended voice for it. And then show them, okay, was that more easy for you? Was that a cleaner sound? How did it feel? I'm always good on check-ins. Like, okay, you hit that note, especially when they do it right. What did you feel? Stop. What did you feel? How does it feel here? You know, and so I would try to go blended voice, and then from blended voice, if I felt that they could handle it, I'd put them back into that chest up there. But if someone's already screaming up there and pinching, I'm already going to try to reverse the whole thing, because that's going to be their knee-jerk reaction if I don't go backwards for them.
And actually, on a more emotional note, I'll like, rarely, but sometimes I might get to this conversation with them. I'll kind of talk to them on the edge of my voice, and I'll kind of be like, why do you feel like you have to sing so loud? I wouldn't say it necessarily like that, but I would start to get into their mind and kind of see, because generally someone like that feels like they need to overcompensate in order for their voice to be enough. And so what I'll try to do is try to get in their head. Why don't you feel like, not necessarily therapy, but just kind of be like, when you use this smaller sound, how does it make you feel? I remember, oh my goodness, I remember with my voice teacher in school, she was trying to get me to use my falsetto, just to kind of start to train me to mix and start to use my, like, a connected head voice. And I was like, why do you want me to use this sound? I was like, what? Like, this sound is ridiculous. I don't like this sound, because I hated my falsetto. And I was like, it just sounds weak. And she's like, sounds weak. Why do you think it sounds weak? And I was just like, oh gosh, we're going there. And I started to tell her, I was just like, well, it just doesn't sound masculine. It just sounds too feminine and whatever. And she's like, in your life, do you feel like blah, blah, blah? And we went into my entire life. And then I realized I was dissatisfied with that part of my voice. And so I wouldn't use it. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is like, when you reject your voice in your mind, you won't use it. And you'll overcompensate to try to mask what actually is a vulnerability. And so for me, I'll try to get
That's it.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, I was just going to say. I mean, yes. Hey, can you just do that quieter, or can you lift your soft palate?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, can you do that? I was like, okay, so right now you're at an 11. Can you bring it to a 6? Let's just see what happens. If you bring it to a medium.
And the funny thing is, they some of them really struggle to do that, because they don't have an idea of what that feels or sounds like at all.
Yeah, and then once they do it at like a 6, I'm like, I mean, what's wrong with that? Why is that not your baseline?
It's just not enough. Like, I don't understand.
Or when they sing every note as a belt. How about that? Have you ever experienced somebody where every single note is a belt? I mean, they start off, G, don't love me. I'm like, why? Everything doesn't have to be level 10. Like, get some nuance, get some.
I be turning my volume down.
Oh my Lord.
And it's usually those types of people that have no idea what their range actually is.
And they
don't
won't
know.
know if they're pushing the gas the whole time.
Because the thing is floored for all that you're singing.
Yes, Hollywood. Yeah, don't even start. I'm not even, this thing is recorded. Never mind.
No, but they can't see the comments. But yes,
Okay.
I'll say this. From somebody told me that they heard her say that she never warms up. And it's like, well, yeah, we can tell. Because there's never any like continuity from low to high. There's never any smoothness. She always starts on 10. And it's like the amount of breath pressure. So, okay, let's be clear. Hyperfunctionality is where it's called press phonation, where you are putting too much pressure on the chords to create sound.
Mm-hmm.
So every pitch has a format, right? Every pitch has a certain vibration pattern based on the vowel and whatever. And every singer has to figure out what that pitch feels like and where it feels good for you to be phonating efficiently. So it's about efficient phonation, right? Not just whether or not you're phonating, but efficient phonation. So an E5 belt is going to have a different breath pressure. It's going to require a different pressure than an E4 belt. So if you approach the E4 belt with E5 pressure, you're going to get, that's what you're going to get. It's totally unnecessary.
And I like this question that was asked by Von Judy. Can you explain support for belting? Sometimes I feel like I'm engaging my abs as if I'm in a plank and I push against that. That's not, well, let me just kind of explain it this way. A lot of people, like we said, how a lot of people overcompensate in belting. You don't need that much push when it comes to your breast support. It's called breast support for a reason. You're not supposed to add lots of push to your support in order to get your belt. Like there's an increase as you go higher, especially when you're carrying up your chest register that far, but it's not a force, you know? Like a lot of people teach it like it's a punch.
I'll tell you what.
And then when I say this, it's not static either. Because when I think of a plank, I think you're like a static crunch. That's
what I'm about to say. Yes. Yeah, it's not, because the whole using your abs thing is, okay, so here's your diaphragm, here's your abs, whatever. It's actually not pushing your diaphragm, it's pushing the stuff that's underneath it, right? It's so you're pushing all of this stuff underneath, and therefore the chain reaction pushes your diaphragm up, right? So you're really giving your trait the actual breath support at the moment you need it, not sustained. So you're singing la 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 la, you know, so you're giving it and you're releasing it when you need it. And it's not a punch either.
No,
it's not a punch. Now there will be certain times for certain events that you like, oh Lord Jesus, I don't have it, Lord. So, and I'm not messing up my throat. So you're gonna squeeze everything and get it out. That's gonna help this to be free. Yes. But that's not how you're gonna normally sing on a regular basis with your abs. If your abs are just crunched the whole time,
not doing anything.
That's never good. Nothing should be in any one position the whole time. Everything should be flexed. And
fluid.
It's dynamic.
Absolutely. The same thing has to happen with you breathing in. You need to relax these things. Because all of that stuff that's pushing up needs to be relaxed as well, so the diaphragm can drop as low as it can.
Oxygen too.
So
and I would say everyone that's talking about abs, book voice lessons with us. Like the abs are not a part of singing. When we're talking about, like, you know, the abdominal muscles and the diaphragm are two separate things. And engaging abs for fitness and engaging the diaphragm for singing are two, again, separate processes. And the abs, you're not really getting the expansion that you need, especially with like fitness. From what I know of fitness, with the abs, you're more contracting and you're kind of, you know, creating that force in order to work your abs, brace your core for getting a six pack. But with the diaphragm, it's much more about expansion. So they're two different things.
Well, I teach a little bit differently where I
Okay.
do incorporate the abs. The abs are
Okay.
very important, but you just have to know how and when in the process.
Okay.
But yeah, because it is one of the things that supports. There's various muscles in our bodies that we don't even think about using that also helps with support in singing. So I do also add abs, but it's not workout. It's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's not planks. It's not, okay, engage your abs the whole time. It's not that. But
Yeah, you're
yes.
definitely not crunching your abs the way that you
Yeah.
would, for a
Mhm.
Russian twist or something like that.
Right.
But from my
Russian twist.
understanding, the diaphragm doesn't have any nerve endings. So if we're
No.
going to use
No.
our diaphragm or support with our diaphragm, really what we're engaging is the abs, because that's something that we can actually use and control.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But it's
Absolutely.
not like you're inhaling and then go, ugh. It's
Yeah,
more
no,
of, like
no.
I said, it's never static, and it should never be static. You should always, like Alethea was saying, be fluid whenever you're
Mhm.
engaging any of these muscles, because it's air is either moving out or moving in your body. It never is just being held in one spot.
Yeah. And like you said, the diaphragm is an involuntary muscle. So it just goes up and it goes down. If it goes up here and it goes down here, that's it. It's not like your arm where you say, go all the way up and go all the way down. It just goes, if this is the limit and this is the limit, this is the exhale, this is the inhale, that's all it can do. So you have to create something else that's going to give it that force that when it's at the exhale, it's going to help push a little bit. And so that's where the abs y'all need to sign up for lessons.
For real, because we tied. Okay, so Rachel, real quick, I was taught to expand my intercostals as I am singing a phrase. Well, no, you're okay. I think what your teacher was saying was tell yourself you're expanding your intercostals. You're obviously not. Air is leaving you. But if you tell yourself you're expanding, then you have muscle antagonism happening where you stay open as long as possible to help get the air out, right? Support. Keep the breath flow consistent.
Open, right,
Yes.
right. You're creating space in the area, right? So if your intercostal muscles are right here, you're lifting them, you're creating space. Your lungs are a natural vacuum. So if there's space there, the air will kind of flow in there as well. So you want to keep that space free,
Hollywood said, what about technique with style? Is it okay to abandon right or healthy for effect? Of course. I think everything has a trade-off, though. Like, you have to know what the trade-off of whatever it is that you think you want to do.
Yeah, trade-off is really important. You got to know that if you're going to go emotional and you're going to abandon technique, there can be a cost for that, And then when you decide to play it safe and never emote with your voice, or you never learn how to emote within the confines of healthy technique, there's a cost there as well in terms of touching your audience and making an impact. So just
absolutely.
count the cost.
Have to think, like I think about session singers, right? Session singers have to be really smart. And I think there's this one particular session singer who I think is brilliant because she is legit a soprano, but she has branded herself as an alto. And because she's branded herself as an alto, she can sing every night of the week and never get vocally exhausted because she has good technique and she's never singing that high. If she branded herself as a soprano and was singing soprano every night, her voice would be exhausted. She would have to take more days off to recover and all of that. So it's like, again, there's a cost to everything,
Listen, she's the one that sits in the alto section of the choir. And can
chirp with the best of them, but
my
won't.
goodness. We all know some of those.
Yeah.
Stop hating. Just stop hating. That's all you got to do.
No, because in order for me to sing in a gospel choir, I have to be singing. I have one section. I can't go to another section and camp out and hide out. But yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a weird way to end, but I'm done.
What time is it? Oh wow.
I think we gave the people what they came for.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna end up starting to so
But I would say with that, like, don't let what we're saying just be information that kind of passes through one ear and goes through another, or don't settle for feeling like you're learning. Book a lesson, because that's where you're going to be able to apply all of this information. You know, you don't want to go by yourself and try to, you know, muscle it out with trial and error when you got 3 amazing teachers here. Why not? So book a lesson.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on,
Yeah.
action.
Book lessons today. Anyway.
Delisa, man, look, I'm really bad at like benedictions. Like I don't know how to end things. That's one thing I have
And
to
now
learn
on
about
to him.
presentations. Like how do I end this?
You said, and now on to him.
To keep us from falling.
Well, thank you, Anil and Delisa, for joining us today on.
Oh, is that what we do?
I don't know.
Like, well, I'm done. Jalisa Faye, you are amazing. I would put you on the spot and have you come up, but like for real, I'm ready to go. So
I heard her. You posted her.
I posted her.
I
she
love
is
her. I love
brilliant.
you, Jalisa.
Hey, Delisa.
I kind of want to bring you on, but I don't know if you can. But
You're singing a song I like too.
Oh, she's so good. Her voice was like so
May the Lord bless.
crystal clear in that clip. I just loved it. This has been Conversations with
There's
Delisa.
a script.
There you go. This has been. I love it. And you got to put your studio voice on. You can't put this
has
voice on.
This has been.
Not this voice. This has
you
been.
can. Okay. Do y'all want to do like a couple more minutes?
Let's do
Sure.
it.
Is she coming on?
Yeah.
Come, Jay.
Come on. In the
Come on.
And she's like a hold on.
Come
She's an honorary Jamaican.
Honorary
That's what
Jamaican.
she told me. She told me she's an honorary Jamaican.
What is an honorary Jamaican?
Woo!
Hey y'all.
What is an honorary Jamaican, Jalisa?
An honorary Jamaican is an American or someone of another nationality that has plenty of Jamaican friends and has been around them long enough to be classified as an honorary Jamaican.
I think there needs to be litmus tests, though.
Yeah,
I
you
think
gotta
there has
know
to
at
be
least
something like
10
you
Jamaican
gotta
phrases.
be able to make rice and peas. You know, you gotta be. There has to be things. You have to speak patois, not just understand it. There has to be like tests and stuff you gotta pass.
I think I've passed like 2 of, I don't know however many they are. So I just made myself.
So let me ask you this. Like if your friends are speaking patois, do you know exactly what's happening? You laugh along with them and everything?
For the most part, yes. I would say between 85 to 90% of the conversation I can understand it.
Hey.
That's good, right?
I think she's talking about Kingstonian Jamaicans, though. She won't be able to understand the country ones.
The country.
Oh, you mean like us?
I have chosen.
Old kind of Jamaicans?
I'm not sure.
My
sure.
I
great-grandmother
can't
was
understand them
country,
sometimes. So.
Oh, you mean
Yes.
like Jamaicans in Jamaica? I call them proper Jamaicans.
Yes, the
Because
proper
I'm
Jamaican.
English. And my grandparents are English, so it's posh.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Not the ones from Hey girl.
Hey, y'all.
So what's up?
I'm just taking in all of the information. I love just jumping in and seeing what's going on and hearing all of the great answers. So yes, everybody that's in here, if y'all need help, y'all better book a lesson with them today.
Book lessons with us.
Book lessons today.
Oh, yes, you know the song.
Come on and
I just
sing.
want to publicly say how proud I am of you, girl. I'm watching you. I'm loving you. I'm like, yes, go, sis, go. I love it.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I so appreciate it.
So while you're here, let me ask you, because you be singing your throat out. How do you, I don't even know if the word is balance. How do you take care of your body with all of the singing that you do, all the traveling, the teaching, all of that?
Right. So what's really funny is this last week, I was out of town for almost like a week and a half. So it's been a really long time since I've been gone for a long time. And this is the first time that I was gone that long. So I had 2 shows. It was like a Friday, a Saturday, I had a show. Sunday, I had 3 services. And then a week of like 10-hour rehearsals, and then a live recording on Saturday, and then church on Sunday.
Did you say 10-hour rehearsals?
10-hour rehearsals.
Yep. We had breaks, but it was pretty much 10 hours.
Ooh.
So really the trick of it was, since it had been a long time since I had done something like that, I really was minimizing like the talking just all around, like, you know, have little conversation here and there, but not overdoing it, not at like speaking at a really low to moderate volume so that I could conserve my voice energy. And really just taking it easy in some of those rehearsals. So like in the daytime, taking it super easy. We were pretty much just like learning parts. And then once we got it, we were kind of just going through it, not really singing full. In the nighttime, we would sing full maybe for like a couple of rounds, but not go too hard.
Mm-hmm.
My voice was getting a little tired towards the end of the week. So I just kept it, you know, took it easy for the rest of the time up until the live recording. I always had my tea on deck to soothe my throat. I always had my
What's
water.
your favorite tea?
My favorite tea.
What did you
Honestly,
have on?
I don't really have a favorite tea.
Okay.
I just need tea.
You'll drink it, like, will you drink chamomile in the morning?
I'll drink chamomile, yeah.
Okay.
I'll drink chamomile. I like ginger tea.
You're a Jamaican then.
See?
Stop it. That's only two.
It's in my blood somewhere in there.
She didn't say lemongrass yet.
Lemongrass. There you go. I got it. I have an accent somewhere inside me. But yeah, so I had my tea whenever I needed some soothing. I had my water always on deck, like minimal talking, getting as much rest as I could. We would end around like 10. So I would get back in my room around 11, and rehearsal wouldn't be until 12 the next day. So I would like sleep in as much as I could,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get my rest so that I could be ready for the next day. I think the challenge was really coming back home, because like now that I'm not doing anything, my voice is like, okay, great, now you're home, shut off. So when I got back, especially after Sunday, I had church on Sunday, so I had sang, I had cried my eyes out for the Lord. So my voice was done. So I really just kind of like took it easy these last few days, and literally did the basics: water, rest, tea. You can't go wrong with that. Like people always ask, like, what can I do to bring my voice back in the next 2 hours? I have nothing. It's like, you're out of luck.
Sorry.
You can't really do anything. And like any of the teas and, you know, throat sprays or whatever, that's really just like temporary remedies. That doesn't really like revive you. So I really stuck with just rest, water, tea. I'm good to go. I'm going back out of town tomorrow. So
safe travels.
And I had a lesson. I think I had a lesson Sunday. Yeah, I had a lesson after like doing all of the services. I had a lesson. So it depends. Like sometimes I'll, you know, still have my hours open, especially if I know I'm going to have like downtime while I'm away. And since I'm virtual, it makes it so much easier to coach. So I'll just like figure out, okay, configure my hours to match my downtime while I'm gone.
Booked for Jesus.
Listen,
Yes.
but this last week during them 10-hour rehearsals, it was a no-go. It was like, yeah, no, I'm not here. So let's just reconvene next week.
Yeah.
But definitely choosing, you know, when I have easy trips, I know, okay, I can do something here. I could do a lesson here, a lesson there. But those long days, I do my best to just kind of like clear those hours strictly for whatever I'm working on so that I can just focus. But yeah.
Well, Julissa, I appreciate you coming on, and
I appreciate you for having me.
The dance, I like it. So
Yes.
I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate what you do in the body of Christ. You are so encouraging to so many young people, not so young people. It's just beautiful to see somebody your age and with your level of talent, just on
and sincerity.
fire for God. Yeah, just on fire. I mean, it really isn't even about the singing. It's like we can see your heart for ministry. And I think one of the lessons that you've learned really early, just as far as even submitting to a pastor, staying faithful to your home, those are things that, I mean, some people don't learn.
People don't learn.
Later in life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
That's something I've learned in the last maybe 2 or 3 years of just really submitting to your leadership and just seeing the fruit that can come, you know what I'm saying, from being
For
faithful
sure.
to the house of God.
For sure.
And, you know, I just thank God for you and your life and, you know, that ministry that you have. Just, you know,
Thank
beyond
you.
the singing. Your voice is amazing, but beyond that, you are a living example of what
I
it
love
is to really walk with the Lord and be faithful. And God is faithful to you and you're faithful to him, Amy.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you. That was a good benediction. I love it. Thank you so much. I love y'all.
Love
There,
you too. Love
there
you
was
too.
one more question I thought was a good one. Someone's asking in regards to proper pitch and finding what pitch to speak in. For me, I just keep raising my voice until it's completely easy. There's like, I don't even feel my throat. So like if I spoke like this the whole time, this is where I would be at ease all day. And all I did was go from here and kept raising my voice till it felt good. So that's what I suggest you do for yourself. Just keep raising your pitch slightly, slightly, slightly until you feel nothing.
And
It's
this is
free.
my pitch.
For me, I'm super mechanical, so I kind of know when I need to start
But
getting
you have
ready to mix.
perfect pitch, so
Exactly. So
Come through, perfect pitch.
it's a gift and it's a lesson gift at times. But like because I'm like F sharp Presagio, F
right.
sharp Presagio.
The average human doesn't do that.
These human robots.
So for me, I'm like, okay, I know where I need to start. Whenever I know I need to start mixing around here, or getting ready to use my mix, I just kind of stay there, and that's kind of the pitch that works for me. Do I actually talk there? Absolutely not. But anyway.
But we learned from Delisa, it's good for us. So we're going to try to
We're gonna
speak
do
like
it.
that
We're
all
gonna
the
do
time.
it.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna try it too. I'm gonna try it for the next 3 days.
Me
Lisa,
too.
you should try it too. Just
I'm
talk
gonna
here.
try it. We're
Hello,
gonna see how
everybody.
it turns out for the next couple of days.
Lessons with
That's you know, I mean, I will have to tell everybody who they're speaking to, even though the caller ID will be Alethea. But yes, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Right.
This is how I'm gonna talk for the rest of the week.
I'm gonna exit.
All right.
Hello. How
God
are you
bless you
today?
guys.
It's
Have a
All
wonderful to
right,
see you.
guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Book a lesson. See you
Book
soon.
lessons today.
Book lessons today. All right.
I want to rhyme with it, but I'm not that good.
Book lessons, I pray.
I was gonna say, dang, I know I can rhyme with that, but I'm not that fast. All right. Bye.